Hello, everyone. Hi. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm gonna start introducing myself while you let me know if you can hear me. Thank you for being here. I am excited to be here with you all as I always am. Looking at preparing us for 2020, and today is a galactic channeling information, just telepathic galactic channeling information. But before I continue to talk, I'm going to introduce myself in case you don't know who I am. I am Aurora. I am the founder of Aura Angelic Universal Regression Alchemy, Aura Hypnosis Healing, and I am also an Akashic reader and a alchemist teacher. Okay, very good. There's just one more announcement, which I am extremely excited about before we continue on. And please do subscribe and click the bell button at the right top so you can receive my notifications when I go live, when there's a new video. That way you can keep track of that, as the information that we're sharing through Aura hypnosis sessions, whether it's the client's higher self or whether it is my higher self or whether it's a benevolent being, it's always in alignment with really feels like within our hearts, as far as organically what's occurring energetically and how we can shift ourselves and humanity. So definitely click that bell button. And then one more thing, I am, as you know, we are doing Aura and Raw retreats. And I am excited to announce that next year in 2020, we will be going international. So I will be traveling to you all, which is extremely exciting. What I realized is, as I was looking at my numbers under my website, is that I had almost the same amount of sessions through Aura sessions, through Akashic readings, and so on. I had that many under my risingphoenixaurora.com. I had almost the same amount as the USA, which is huge for Canada. So I will be traveling to Canada and doing a Aura Raw retreat there, as well as Australia. Exciting. Yes, because those were my top three. There was USA, Canada, and Australia. So excited to be coming to you all and spreading this healing modality that is, as we know, transformational. We're spreading this to the world internationally. Thank you for allowing that announcement. I have an Aura lasting years. I have an Aura coming out. You guys definitely want to watch it. It's so refreshing and pure and innocent to the soul, and it is from a well-known healer. And I'm not gonna give it up because I wanted to be a surprise. And she will be sharing her Aura. So thank you to her. Keep an eye on that. It should be up very soon, today or tomorrow, very soon. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So let's get to this. Oh yes, and before I get started, last time I was wearing one of these wraps. I noticed once I saw the comments, one of you all was like, "Can turn around?" And I never realized it till after. So here, before we start the channeling, I'm going to show you the wrap. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, I forget the name of it, but it's on Facebook. You guys see it all the time. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. It reminded me very much of the Phoenix energy. So love it. I feel anyone else feeling very fierce and sexy today? And hey, if you're divine masculine as well, you can feel sexy too. That's not just for the feminine. Stand in your beauty today. Okay. Okay. So let's see. How do we start? So much information to be shared. Whew. And we will end it within the hour. Okay. Let's start off, first of all, a quick recap of 2019, because basically this is what reminds us and leads us into 2020. I've been talking strongly to Adama, with Adama, and he's been sharing information from the inner earth. So we'll be sharing some of that in a little bit, as far as how to aid in 2020 for ourselves in the collective. Okay, so again, in case you're new again to this video, I channel the Raw Collective, and my higher self, and as well as who is part of the Raw Collective, but we're all from the Raw Collective, from this universe particularly. And and I also channel benevolent beings. And Adama is a inner earth benevolent being that is, you could say, leading ascension even inside the inner earth. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because you all need to know about that. Okay, very good. Now let's go ahead and go into what 2019 we talked about. If you want to watch even more in detail in depth, we did have a 2019 New Year's video that I made towards the beginning of 2019, so you can get a recap and see how that. I know recently I saw a comment from someone that watched it and they said, "Wow, I didn't realize I've been watching this, a year later, and it on point to what it was that really happened in 2019." Okay, so we start off first of all with numerology because numerology is similar to symbols and alchemy, and it is a part of the consistency of creation itself in a beautiful combination of alchemy, right? So 2019, 2019, 2 plus 1 plus 9, the 0, 0. So that adds up to the number 12, right? So we talked about that 2019 was going to be the year of the 12, the elders. And out of all the years that we have been here, I would say that it was the most pronounced recap what we went through the year. We went through listening to the rest of the angelics in different forms, and then they talked about the keys and the laws of the universe, the laws of the universe that go up to the 13th chakras, 13 dimensions, as well as um, and so on. So we teach all the way up to those dimensions, even though there's further, but this is within our mind, body, and soul complex. Within our what we can understand is that we will, in order, that is what we can understand within our consciousness of this universe itself. Okay. And then we do have Lily on chat, by the way, before I continue talking. We have Lily on chat. She's keeping an eye on chat. Specifically, it's really important to me that whatever I create, it's all sacred and there's no distractions or infringing upon, specifically distracting on the channel. We're here to listen to the channel information, and make sure that you're not spamming like every couple seconds, please, as we're trying to pay attention to what it is that we're learning through the channel. And sometimes we have some spamming going on that can distract, and a lot of us are very sensitive, right? So we can feel the energies of that, and it interferes and it distracts us from what we're trying to actually learn from. And I know I'm extremely sensitive like that, in a beautiful manner, though. That my sensitivity is what allows for me to be able to connect to others and help them heal profoundly, though. Okay, so I also practice force fields of love light, as you all know. So ensuring that we are operating within the highest dimension that I can most possibly operate with, still consisting this three-dimensional physical existence of illusion. Okay, so now when we went into that year, we received a lot of activations, a lot of awareness within our souls, profound healings, not only within ourselves, but we also noticed within our communities and in the collective that there was a shift. We also were able to pick up on some of these clues to the Schumann resonance. You saw that it was at the highest peaks that it could reach, and in these particular times when sometimes they wanted us to focus on particular dates or information that was being shared, they were even more intently amplified. We also work within our own structure, DNA structure, going all the way, working. The goal is we're working, trying to build up the 13th strand DNA structure as well as the chakra. So throughout this year, we gave information lovingly from different points of views from benevolent beings in our life channelings, as far as how to work within yourself alchemically, as we are a beautiful creation of alchemy. Now, with that, with the 12 elders, is basically they are the council. You'll see a lot of the council of 12, and they are particularly from this galactic construct of this universe. And though they do travel to other locations, throughout the creation as they are needed. Their main focus, and just like the rest of the people who have come here from different dimensions and universes, are the main focus is here. It's something about the specific blueprint, the consistency of this particular earth, that is very much almost like it's at its focus. It is at a focus point where it holds one, the greatest density, and it also holds like an organic type of. What they show me is like, okay, if there's a circle, say there's a circle, and then this circle duplicates similar to the flower of life that is infinite, and then there's another circle, another circle, another circle, almost like it is, they're saying, which sounds really amazing and also like whoa. um but it is, we are a focus point within this particular organic timeline and this positive timeline that we're trying to maintain. We are that very circle. And again, this is the way our human consciousness can understand it. And there are other circles going around this one circle. So we are operating in this one circle, where this circle is important that we stay positively within our organic love and timelines and blueprints, so that it can ripple out for the other circles that are the parallel earths. Okay. Let's see. All right. And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I have Lily here who's going to be sending me the questions that you have. Okay. All right. Hope we understood that. Now, with that is that we have the 12 elders. And then we have within this construct, there's the 12 laws. So we are speaking of this particularly because tomorrow we have 12/21, right? As we know, there was a great shifting on 12/21/2012. Is when we started coming into the new earth frequency. There was a new earth building. That is officially when the blueprints and the energy of the new earth started to actually manifest itself as a collective. We reach a maximum point in time as collective energies, as collective souls, where we started actually building upon that and really bringing it into a more of a fruition organically. Okay, so from there, okay, now with that is that every year we're building and more so upon it. Now there was times that throughout this year, particularly, that there was an event. As we teach, there's not just one event. Now eventually, throughout time and space, there will be a final physical event that is far from here. And though there is individual events, as everyone is in their own timeline and their own organic karma, their own organic energies, their own soul's blueprints, their own predestined timeline, everyone is operating in their own creation. Therefore, we can't expect for everyone to go when one person might shift and awaken and into the 5D tomorrow, when another person, it might take them 10 years, 20 years, because that's how long it took them to go through the deprogramming of their soul and ascension of their soul, the process of ascension. Then there is, people like us who are awakened, who are healers, and we've chosen to stay behind so that we can help the decades that are to come, where little by little, as we help these people cross over, in other words, they would uh, release the physical vessel and cross over into the 5D. Now, the reason why we're talking about this, because this actually correlates with the 2020. So when you grab your year 2020, let's talk about what the 2020 means. Now, what it means is that remember, we've talked about in the past how when you have a pattern of numbers and they are So 2020. So when we add 2020, it equals the number 4. A lot of us really understand the number 4, and if you don't understand it, we're going to help you try to understand how important the number 4 could be to our lives. Okay, and then you're also seeing 2020, 2 meaning relationship, meaning double of energies, a duplication, a sense of realizing that you're not alone, and you've never been alone even if you thought you were alone. Okay, then there's a 0, creation, infinite creation. A circle means infinite creation, right? The cycle of life itself, over and over. There, a circle has no corner, right? And it has no end. It just keeps going over and over. So we have the 2, relationship in oneself, or a loved one, perhaps a twin flame union, a family building upon family, whether it's your direct family or distant family. So this is going to be a time that you're really going to see a union, and particularly, even more importantly, your soul family, where you're going to start receiving more communications from your soul family, your galactic families, throughout creation. And you're gonna, once you recognize this and you understand that you can connect to your soul family, and actually they've been with you from the beginning of time, from the beginning, beginning of time, but particularly what I'm speaking about is from the beginning of you being here in this earthly existence. They've been with you. When you start recognizing that they have been with you, then you start opening up. Basically, you're deprogramming yourself. You're deprogramming yourself from thinking that you are disconnected from the universe, because that's what they taught us, that we are separate from the infinite energies, and they've kept us in a under a like a observation tank. And I'm talking about the negative aliens, not the positive aliens. Um, drink some water. I think I have a question here from Lily. A.U.R.A. Okay, I'll answer that in a second after I finish this discussion. Okay. So we have 2020. When there is a 1, say there's a 1 that is strong, but when you put 2, then that creates a beautiful foundation of support, right? Similar to your legs, how you walk, you need 2. Your 2 arms, you need 2. So understanding how is a partnership. Life is a partnership, whether it's with a stranger that you just met and you just ran into when you're walking down the street, or whether it's someone that is close to you within your soul family, your inner circle. And it's going to be a time where we're going to really start going into a formation and understanding the consciousness, the unity, oneness that Adama talks about. Okay, so the 2020. And then for the tomorrow, prepare yourselves, because there's some beautiful energies that are going to come forth. You're going to see it through different forms of energies. You're going to see a shift. You're going to feel it. Even today, waking up, there's a strong crown energy in the head here. That is a lot. So some of you might be experiencing migraines or headaches, because what's occurring is that they're preparing you for tomorrow, for the 1221. Okay, in the year of the 1221, in the year of 12, so you could understand how big and significant this could be. So there's a lot of energy flowing through you right now. So if you're not doing some of these things, like grounding yourself, meditating, eating healthy, eating light, what I can help you understand is why we always, so let's talk about why they ask you to eat light, like, or fruits, no meat. So what happens is, what I could explain to you, and I could explain to you in my explanation and who I am. So what they started showing me, and well, first of all, they made me ill. Anytime I would eat meat, I would get bloated, sick, gassy. Let's see, and any cheese or meat and so on. So when we are viewing from a perspective, which I operate strongly with a perspective of infinite love and honoring absolutely everything that you can think of, I honor it with the greatest, most equalness and love. Okay. So this is the frequency that I operate in. That's within the 13th dimension that I'm operating from. So when I'm bringing forth this unity consciousness of the 13th dimension, this oneness of us, what happens is that in order for me to be here and channel the most clearest and most purest answers for you, is that I need to ensure that my body is at its lightest density. So when we eat meat and we mm, uh, animal products, and what happens is that we're taking in that density, and the way we view it as angelics in this dimension is that we view it like you're taking in a life, a soul. So you're eating a soul. That's the best way I could explain to you. So what happens with that is that if I eat meat and other energies that are animal products, that will make me very heavy. I will start getting very sleepy, very heavy, and honestly, I don't have time for that. I have, I my goal is to be here for you all and be sharing as much as I can every day. As you all see, I have an immense amount of videos just in 2 years of having the YouTube channel. So I have no time to be falling asleep because I'm so heavy because I ate meat. So this is what they're trying to explain to you. So when you are eating meat and dairy, and even Dolores Cannon from her back then, from 30 years ago, from QHHT, they were telling them, not to eat meat, not to eat soda, sugar, and so on. So we go into why is it? Why would you not want to eat it? Well, sugar, as we know, is AI. That basically is a drug. Okay. So my goal is to keep myself at the highest density that I could possibly operate, still being able to remain the physical vessel here without um, basically. So what happens is if I eat meat, it lowers my density. So I'm up here operating in a light frequency, right? Then I eat meat and it lowers. Adama wants to talk about this because they don't believe in eating meat or animal product. So I'm up here and then I eat something that's animal product. And of course, not everything's gonna be perfect. Sometimes a meal that you're gonna have might have butter in it, might have, some kind of animal product. As long as you're not actively like putting butter on your food or actively like, some of these maybe breads that you might have egg in it. It's okay to eat that if it has a little bit of egg. Just transmute it, heal it like we always teach, heal it with your love coming out of your hands, but don't actively like perhaps eat you know these animal products because then you're intaking them into you. And then so that happens is that Adama is saying that you're up here, so then with this highest density of you, and now you've ate an animal product which could be considered like a life force that you've intaked into you that is not yours. It's a living being. So now you're down here. So you lowered your density. Now you're lower. This density can infringe upon your energies, can infringe upon your thought form, can infringe upon your decisions, and in a negative manner where you would go a path that wasn't organically for you, but within your free will choice, you chose it because you were in a lower density of decisions. You can get false light information, you can get false dreams, you can other beings, aliens, for example, you're down here when you're sleeping, they can actually try to infringe upon you and create negative soul contracts. I have an aura coming up in the future, not sure when, as is very sensitive, but um, you know, there was just by being curious to an alien, you allow for them to come in, and this aura was an archon and it integrated into the person in the sleep. So the goal is to be at the highest density that you can be in when you go to bed, when you're awakened. And it's okay if you ate like a cookie, but don't eat like, a cookie a whole pack a day or a whole pack, you know. Don't like you wanting to, for example, eat a cookie and that's all you think about, like, "Ooh, I got that cookie here, I want to eat it." That's an unbalance, that's an addiction, that is something that is infringing upon your energy when you are like that. Okay, so thank you, Adama, for those messages. I think they're really important coming up for the 2020. Okay, because I'm though we can't be, you know, absolutely no one's perfect and no one can be in this highest frequency all the time, but we can intuitively, intently work within ourselves and keep ourselves high up here and honor all life. Okay. Let's see what else they want to talk about. So let's go ahead. Let me see if there's anything else they want to talk about. Okay, so there is a what's occurring right now is that there is a portal opening up. It already opened up. Let's say yesterday. Yesterday it opened up roughly, and it will continue going, and it's going to be at its amplifications tomorrow, 12/21. Again, what we talk about is that it's helping people cross over, and particularly what it's doing is it's building your, those of you who are not ready for whatever divine reason, you it's building on your energies in this time, because what happens is that when you open up a portal and a gateway, those energies that are coming in, if you could envision, like, so we have, say, the 5D right here, there's a portal, and it's amplified and it's wide open. Those energies are coming in and they're influencing us in a loving, organic way. They're influencing us to build up our DNA, to build up our soul, our DNA strands, all the way the 13 strand that we talk about that we're trying to build up. Because once we build up that 13 DNA strand, we can go ahead and go into the 5D. So it is like a beautiful flow that's coming in and out. Our soul is, our higher selves are helping us connect to this new earth frequencies that will be occurring. And they're helping take pieces and pieces to build us up. Whether it's a past life trauma, whether it's a DNA structure that needs to be deprogrammed. Um, like there was a session I recently had where let's talk about fear, because that's been really strong. Fear, right? It's one of our, it's the ley line, the key that we stand forth in the Americas. So that's why we have a lot of fear here, unfortunately. And it's infringed upon, but however we build upon it every day. We're building in like those puzzle pieces, those little tiny pieces and fractalizations, and building it up. We're making that cord, that ley line stronger and stronger, that vein that enters into the divine mother's heart inside the earth, the inner earth. We're making it stronger and stronger. Okay, so fear, yes. Once we start feeling things that trigger us into fear, what a lot of us do is that we're like, I'm not gonna think about it. I'm not gonna not no, I'm not going there. I'm not gonna think about it. Okay. So what that happens is with fear, when you don't think about it and you don't face it on and you don't overcome it and you don't stand forth in that fear, what happens is it's like you have a band-aid on it, and this band-aid is not really, it's just kind of covering it up, but the wound is never really healing under there. It keeps opening up. Every time you're faced once more with that's holding you in fear, it opens up again. And you stay stuck in fear, it opens up again. And you never seem to get out of that cycle, that repeated cycle of fear. Okay. With that, you what's occurring is that it's keeping you there. When we ignore things and we don't want to face them on, then that keeps scarring us and keeps those wounds open without healing. It is when, for example, fear, when we are able to face something that triggers us, let's just say maybe Abertillium, okay, because we talk about them and how we're trying to help them, because the greatest density in this universe or even more beyond that, is the reptilians. They have a large quantity amount, and everybody hates them and targets the not targets. Well, maybe targets them, but everybody hates them and sends them negative energy, right? Um, so we teach instead to help them and send them love and help them positive polarize so that we could actually lift that density. So just like that density we were talking about when you eat food and it makes you heavy. So they are that density there that makes us heavy in this creation. Okay. So when it is with fear, it is when you are able to face that thing that fears you. Say, not saying you're going to go out and look for a reptilian, but I'm just going to use this example. Like, you can hear the name reptilian, you can sense a reptilian, and yet it does not trigger you to have fear. It is when you stand forth in whatever gives you fear and you're no longer triggered or feel like, oh, I need to just not think of that. I need to just put that aside. I need to, uh, you know, uh, that is, that is pushing away fear instead of facing fear. Pushing away fear is fear based, is a frequency of lower fear based, because you're not coming into the realization and standing forth in what it is that triggers you. So we went through a lot of that this year of fear, overcoming that. We went through a lot of trickster energies trying to infringe upon our energies, and in different forms of channeled information. I have an aura coming up that I'm gonna let you watch it, and I'm not gonna give too much detail, just because it is important for you to go through the process. But this person got something negative just by listening to a channel. And it was to the point where if they wouldn't have had cleared it, they actually would have been held behind. They would have never ascended. It's a blessing though that this person was able to find aura, and then we were able to remove it. And overall, working with people who work in a high frequency of love, you have to be very careful, very careful. So just by this person listening to a live channel of them thinking that they were channeling a benevolent being, when actually they were channeling a dark collective, very strong collective that had connection to AI, this person got AI in them. I'll let you watch that in the future. So what happened there is that this was the year that 2012, 2019 was the year, in the year of the 12 was that year of that, because there was a lot of distractions, because what was supposed to be occurring was that we were activating our 12 DNA strands. We were building upon them. We were making them stronger. So what better way to make you, tap into a frequency that AI would be infringed upon you, that tap into a frequency where they would give you a frequency of a tone, a sound, and then integrate a negative entity posing as a fractal of you. So then what that's going to do is, so it's like a pattern, like a different patterns, like a puzzle piece, right? So then those puzzle pieces, it's like an outline. Okay, so I'm just going to draw something here so you got to understand. And I'm just going to repeat the diamond shape over and over. I drew it really fast. Okay, so that's like a pattern, right? So what happens is that some of these patterns, in whatever shape you want to use, so say right here, you're supposed to get an integration of your higher self, a bigger fractal of you. And then there was a negative alien that, for whatever reason, was able to tap into that, because maybe you don't shield. Maybe you don't, just like that child from Quantum Kids talked about. He said how they go through and scan all the houses, and they go for the people who have the lightest bright. And the people who have the brightest light, he said, people don't really, he said, people don't realize that if they don't shield, then they're wide open. And he said, he was so adorable. He's just looking at me. And Aurora, the truth is that not that many people shield. So they're wide open, and they don't realize that. Okay, so there's an integration coming up with you here that's going to fill in this here. That's going to bring forth a fractalization, an organic positive fractalization here. And it's going to help you tremendously. It's going to perhaps build up your clairaudience, your clairvoyance, some kind of gift of yours, right? But they realize that it's coming forth because you're building, but you're not surrounding yourself with intensive love light of remaining yourself invisible to harm. So then they infringe upon you through a form. All of a sudden, you hear a voice in your mind saying, click that video, watch that video. You'll click the video and you'll tap into the frequency, and you don't realize that all of a sudden, that frequency that wasn't being channeled from a divinity of high love, infinite love, now instead of that fractalization of you that was supposed to be divinely integrated into you, now it's allowed an integration of an AI, an archon, or a negative alien. So it's filled this in. It's filled this in with negativity. So just so you could understand. So that's what they were doing all last year. Okay. And all right, there's a lot to share. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. And then even not just next year, it's basically through our existence, as this is the most densest we could be in 3D, they're going to continue to do that. But if you just like we give you the tools, if you just surround yourself with love light, it's like you created a filter. And like we said before, it's like when you put a filter in a water, I use a reverse osmosis filter system. So when you remove those filters, they have a bunch of black gooey stuff, and it's just like ew. So if you don't put a filter around you of love light, it's like you're allowing all that gooey stuff. And it's extremely important because it builds your heart discernment. So now you're going to be able to tell, like, oh, like this video I'm listening to feels a little uncomfortable, let me jump out, instead of listening to the whole transmission, and then it infringed upon your energy because you openly allowed. When you tap into a frequency, whenever someone's in a trance channel, a theta brainwave, a hypnosis, they are in a altered brainwave. Okay, so you could understand scientifically through quantum physics, they are in an alternate brainwave. So when you are tapping into that brainwave, it also alters you because you are becoming a reflection of that brainwave that you are tapping into. So you can unconsciously go into that theta brainwave, and this is Aurora, Archangel Aurora talking. So now you're coming into it. That's why I started talking fast. Every time I start talking fast, that's Aurora. She likes to talk fast. So now you've connected to it, and boom, you're there. You've achieved that frequency that they wanted you to achieve, just because you're becoming the reflection of that you're listening to and allowing into your energy, storage sphere, consciousness, Merkaba, whatever. Okay, org field. All right. Okay, let me see before I start answering questions and making sure that we answered what we needed to there. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit more on the 2020 coming up. Okay. Reading your questions here. Thank you, Lily, for them. I just saw popped up. I smoked. Does that matter? What I've been told through the Aura regression through client's higher self. Remember, because these are the client's higher self. Though I am connected and I get my own information, but I think it's really reassuring for us, even more so when we hear also from the clients what we've been channeling too. But they said smoke basically it's a chemical that goes into the brain, and it multiplies negative atoms, negative cells, negative thought forms. So within I believe it's a 40th, what is it, 40th of a second? Is this a 40th of a second or 60th of a second? If you don't clear away that negative thought form, then it duplicates itself and it messes with your mind up, and it keeps you controlled. So yes, smoking would be counting as a strong infringement upon the mind, and the root to the majority of our issues is the mind. Once you learn how to work with the mind and balance it out, is when we really start growing within ourselves. Okay, so let's see who we have a question here. How do we tap into parallel timelines to assist consciously, or in meditation to assist or awaken send love to the other us we are? Okay, so we talked about timelines and what they are throughout all year long. Okay, parallel times. That's a very long discussion. Let's see what we can share about that. Okay, every decision that is made, and then Dolores Cannon used to talk about this with her hypnosis sessions, is that every decision is made, is created somewhere. Every thought form that you're thinking of is created somewhere. It has to, every thought form basically that is manifested has to grow out and manifest somewhere, even if it's a parallel life or if it's a um what I do with my negative thoughts is I once I start feeling them, because I there is a strong infringement that can occur when you have negative technologies around you. They'll send you like negative thoughts, is I transmute it with fire energy. The minute that negative thought form comes up, I alchemically transmute it with fire. That way, none of that, is going into the energies, and it has to work itself out and go through the transformation of healing itself. Okay. So that is the best way when you're working with parallel timelines, because there are parallel use throughout creation, because creation is infinite. To heal and to send a beautiful love light energy or fire, whatever you work with, or water or earth, right? Because they're all equals. All these elements are equals. It is the fire, the etheric fire, though, that can transmute implants and these negative technologies that you'll run into. But besides that, the air it is at the equal amount of greatest power to bring forth healing to the different timelines. So you could think of through meditation, through dream time, specifically ask, is there any healing that I need to do within my parallel timelines? Is there any me out there that needs healing? I can tell you there was one life that I went into where it was a parallel me, and it was freaky. It was freaky because I actually went, so in dream time, I woke up all of a sudden and I felt like I was there. Like I woke up in that timeline, right? And I was married to Zen, but this Zen was different. This Zen was, this world was different itself. All the divine masculine had been infringed upon, and they were oppressing the feminine. I woke up in the same bed, in the same house, in the same, you name it, everything was the same except for my spiritual belongings were gone, and there was crosses all over the place, and it was governed by religion. So this is a timeline somewhere out there that we are living, and we are governed by religion, and that is sad. So you were not allowed as a feminine to, it's similar to some of the old ways that we are used back then, where women weren't allowed to vote, women weren't allowed to speak their truth. They were controlled. They couldn't work. They had to only take care of the children. All these control. And most importantly, they were not allowed to tap into their divine feminine energies of creation, of magic, of birthing, renewal. They weren't allowed. So when I went in there, I felt the density, and I was like, I looked all around me. I was like, where am I? What is going on? And then I felt it, like they were trying to keep me there. There was like this negative collective trying to keep me there. And I felt pain in my spine. And automatically I always call for Archangel Michael. I started calling back then, especially because this was in my beginnings of awakening. In what year was that? That was 2016, 17. And even though I was partially awakened on my life, not awakening, I would say like when I finally started stepping into allowed, because I always was giving messages to people all my life, but I finally was allowed to come out. And it was the weirdest sensation, and I was a bit freaked out. I was like, what am I doing here? And who is this Zen that I'm laying to, or that I'm oppressed to? And then I started calling for Michael, and then he traveled to that dimension and pulled me out. Crazy, huh? Pulled me out, put me back into this body. So that was a glimpse into a parallel timeline, parallel existence. So then what I did is I was like, oh my gosh, the poor me there. Ah, it's horrible. And it was modern. It was like the modern now. It wasn't old days. It was modern, and everything was governed by religion, and the reptilians were in charge of it, and the negative, and above that, the real negative aliens that we have no idea who they are were governing this place. And they just had us like harvesting our energy, controlling us. It was just horrible. Thank goodness for the angelics, because they save us through many different times, because only the angelics can travel into a dimension like that and then retrieve us and help us. Okay. From there, though, I started learning how to surround myself with force fields of love, light, how to set intents, how to use alchemy, how to use symbols, and then yeah. So those were times that I didn't really know too much about alchemy. I just knew, to do bubbles of love light, but I wasn't using it to the fullest that I could. Okay. So send love. Send love. Understand that there's so many different parallels to you, and just send love. If you are operating here in a high frequency of unity of love, then you will understand that the yous out there most likely have it worse than you, because remember what we said at the beginning is that we're operating in a one circle here, and then there's multiple circles around us. So I know it sounds so simple like love, but that is the fabric of why we're here. We are love. Okay. And I'm just going through and seeing what the Raw wants to talk about. Are all parallel realities going to merge after the final event? No, because that's like saying infinity is going to come back in. Infinity is infinity, and it has no endings and has no bringing back. It's infinite. There's no ends. Yeah. However, what will happen is that, so as you know, the people who have reached the 51 percentile of service to others, which basically they love others even more, by that 1%, they love others more than themselves, are they will have their healing, their timelines will be healed as they transition into the 5D, and then the ones that didn't reach that percentage, they will go to a place of healing so that they can heal their timelines that need merging. um and healing. But even then, nothing can be fully merged, remember, because it's infinity. And then that brings me into the year of 2020. You see the number 444 is angels, angelic. The 12 dimensional fractalizations of the seraphim going into the 11th dimensional Elohim. Okay, so that's the number 4 you're seeing there. And then you've seen it throughout creation. There's the 4 horsemen, which actually the 4 horsemen are not negative like they talk about them. Maybe someday we'll channel them. The 4 horsemen are positive elemental beings that work strongly in the elements of the 4 elements: earth, fire, water, wind, throughout creation. You've seen it 2 different ways like that. Yeah. So brings me into when you are the 4th dimension. The 4th dimension is very special because at the 4th dimension it's the bridge. You've heard about people talking about I am the bridge, we are the bridge, or how we are in the 3D, but then we operate in the 4D, right, to go into the 5D. So 4D is almost like the invisibility, the invisible bridge that's building. 2020 is going to represent this bridge itself. Okay, this is how big and important and beautiful it is. This bridge, this year is going to be the bridge of building onto the 5D, being the bridge of connecting the 5D here, back and forth. Some of us who are bridges, being part of that bridge, we are going to get more downloads, synchronicities, integrations of our soul to help us become more of that bridge fluently, organically. It will literally, that year will be a bridge. Think about the beauties to a bridge. It connects one land, right, to another. Perhaps there's a big body of water. Let's envision this. So there's a land here. We're going to call it the 3D. The 4D is the bridge. The 5D is the other land. Now, if that bridge wasn't there, could we cross over? If we had wings, we could fly over, right? But if we don't have wings, how would you cross over a long distance like that? And perhaps there is water under it, a river. So that's what it will represent. It will bring us into a DNA structure building of our flower of life, our helix energies, double helix, triple energies, doubling them, and building upon our 13th strand DNA. Okay. So we will literally be able to, if we consciously want to, come back and forth between this bridge. Of course, you have to be high enough to achieve the 4D dimension, because as someone who is operating in a 3D won't be able to find the bridge, won't be able to connect to it, won't be able to tap into it, because they just can't reach that high enough frequency of the 4D bridge. You have to first achieve that frequency of the 4D bridge. Okay, so it is a union of both these lands, and we'll be stepping into our power, our sovereignty, and our beauties, because we went through all these trials this year, and you know, hopefully we're able to overcome them and find these distractions and not allow for them to come in. Or maybe we didn't, but there's beautiful healers out there working in a heart frequency that can help you. And as you know, we do this through aura. We go in deeply into that theta brainwave, lifting that vibration out, so you can, maybe you did get infringed upon, but there's always hope. There is always, anywhere you ask for help, there's always help wherever it is asked. Okay. So it's going to connect both of those lands. It's going to be beautiful. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel different. You're going to wake up different. You're going to be able to operate in that bridge 4D dimension and in that 5D, where you still be able to materialize and keep that physical vessel here, but you're going to find more of the unity of the mind, body, soul complex, trinity complex, and you're still going to be able to come up and down. Basically, you're going to be able to interdimensionally travel back and forth. Say you're working with a client as a healer, you're going to be able to go into that 5D really quick and get the answer and come back. Though we work all the way up to the 13th dimension through the alchemy teachings, but particularly it would be a great beauty because the majority of you all have a fractal of you in the 5D who has ascended, who was able to remove the AI, who was able to come out of the AI control matrix. So you will imagine the wisdom that this 5-dimensional you has in the new earth, and how you can go back and forth and communicate this and bring this forth, the symbols, the energies, the activations, how you'll be able to bring back and forth. That is huge. It is beautiful, beautifully huge. So this year, remember that is, you are a bridge, or there is a bridge there that you can travel back and forth, and allowing yourself to bring forth that wisdom, that you there that went through all that you can think of here to get there. You can connect to that you there, and all you have to do is believe it within your heart, within your imagination, within your third eye, and you will connect. It's just a thought form and imagination away. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see what else. We're coming up towards our endings of times for our channel. Okay. Do all the other 3D realities in other places have parallel realities or just us? Yeah, the realities, everything's infinite. So there's a parallel to everything, yes. Somebody wants to know, why did we start eating meat to begin with? Now there is a form though that it went originally indigenous to the lands. We did eat meat back then because especially if there wasn't any crops in the winter, you would starve. But you would go through this beautiful infinite ceremony that you would honor that animal that just gave you its life, its to keep you alive. You would honor it in all sorts of ways. You would use every single bit of it, its fur, its skin, its bones. You would use it for everything, and that in itself would be an alchemy exchange. So therefore you would balance out that karma, that energy from taking that life. And however, we live in a time where we can, we don't have those limitations now, unless you live in a region in the world where you would have to. So again, you would treat it just like I just said, indigenously, lovingly, in a balanced manner. Now, Thor is in the background. Hey, Thor. And let's see. Though a lot of through our aura hypnosis sessions, they told us that the reptilians influence people to eat meat so that they could be dense enough so that they could infringe upon them. It happens all the time. Okay. All right. How can we not be trapped and paranoid when listening to something? I don't quite understand that question. How can we trapped and paranoid when listening to something? Well, if something's making you paranoid or feeling trapped, first you have to figure out, okay, is this something that's coming out from this information that I'm listening to? Okay. Or is this something that's coming from within me? So for example, say you have entities within you or negative technology within you. You're listening to a person who is operating in a high frequency of love. You will become paranoid, and those infringing entities within you will try to stray you from listening to that person of love because they want to stay in there. They're comfortable. They've been there, a long time. Some people we found been there billions of years, these entities or reptilian consciousness. So, what is it? Is it something that's coming in that's controlling you from the inside, or is it something outside your auric energy that's trying to come in? So if it's something that's trying to come in, I would say just stop listening to it. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Don't listen to it. Don't tap into that frequency. But if it's something that's coming in from the inside and it's bottling it up and it's making it come up like those hidden, like a soda, and the bubbles are bubbling up and it's gonna pop, then that is something that you want to look into because it's trying to come out so that you can raise your vibration. And you want to look into, this person who is speaking of love. Why am I feeling so uncomfortable with them? And it's because they're, again, like we talk about through aura. What happens is we set up the alchemy symbols, right? So we set up the alchemy symbols on the client. We are set up in sacred alchemies energies as well. And we're now lifting ourselves and we're lifting the client in the most highest vibration that they could be lifted for their highest good in their timeline, whatever the higher self, because it's the higher self. The higher self is in charge of the whole hypnosis. So they're lifting it up. The higher self has lifted them up because you have sacredly set up that energy for them. So what happens is when you see these hypnosis sessions and you're like, whoa, how do you find all these things? How are these things coming out of so many things coming out of this client? Is that we've created a sacred high vibration. So now some of these implants, some of these reptilian consciousness entities, portals, hooks, no longer can stay in there because you've basically just lived. They were down here, perhaps in a negative implant that was keeping them in a PTSD negative emotions. But now you've set them up sacredly. So they're up here operating in the theta brainwave with the higher self. So what's going to happen with that is that this up here is not going to be able to hold on anymore because they're up here. And it's going to rattle it up and it's going to help it bring forth. So that's how you want to look at it when you're looking at energies. What is rattling? What's trying to come up to release that's negative within me that no longer serves me for my highest and most beautiful self, right? Okay, we're already a few minutes past. Let me see if I could answer one more question for you all, and then Adama just remembered me something. Oh, remind me something. Okay, actually I have to end it at this. Sorry, no more questions for now. Adama reminded me. So basically, what's going on right now is that we channeled him, and we also had the aura right before we channeled him from in the earth, and we found out. And though some of you have heard me throughout time talking about please send love to the earth, because I was sensing these battles that were going on, they were communicating to me, and in those times I couldn't really share more details. So now I'm able to share. So thank you for that, and thank you for your collective, because every single one of you who is listening is aiding for these awareness and information to come forth that were hidden before and weren't allowed to come forth. So it is what's going on down there, and particularly below through the military and the cabal, is that it's very much seeming close to the Atlantis times when they were performing experiments. Some of these people who are going missing, the children, the people, they go missing. They're taking them, unfortunately, and they're performing experiments on them to do something with their souls. I can't share too much on it, unfortunately, but it is it's going beyond every single law that you can think of. It is it's horrible. So it's similar to in Atlantis, what they were doing in Atlantis. The people became infringed upon by ego and AI, and they were performing things on human beings that they shouldn't have had been, experiments going beyond. It was just horrible. So they're doing these things. So what they are asking you for in the year of the four of the year of the four, the 2020, is for you to send love to these vile things that should not be happening, that are not even allowed to be even happening, but they're occurring. To send love to the Atlantis when it was infringed upon, then the experiments that they were creating, where Dolores Cannon, I think, had one, yeah, where pretty sure it was, yeah, they were mixing animals with humans, and then at some point they became soulless, or at a point where they couldn't procreate. They're also stuck in the vessel. It's really, really sad, nasty things. So sending love on the 444. So we're having you all send. I have an alarm for 111 and 555 right now, and 1111. But the 111 is the 13th hour. We're sending love to the earth and inside the earth. Everyone, just love. Okay, and then sending love. You could just stay without harming anyone. Okay. That way you're not overstepping any boundaries of anyone. And then we're asking specifically the elders, the 12 elders, ask for you to send love on the 555, 555, so that for the healing of the children. And you can watch past channelings on why that was, but they basically hold the brightest lights of Earth. And now they're asking us for the 444 in the year of the 4. Send love to the things that have been vile, that have been infringing in ways that we don't even want to face. Just send love. You don't have to think of these things when you're sending love, but just send love to the infringing harm that has been caused, that caused the Atlantis sinking, the experiments, the infringement upon even the now, and some of these experiences that are going on, that treating us through these different cabal running experiments. Send love to those people who have suffered. There could be a you here, and then there could be a fractal you, because remember, we're our fractals. We don't just have one fractal on Earth, we have multiple fractals of us. So there could be a fractal of you here that can be feeling something going on, that is a fractal of you that is being contained and being performed these experiments that should not be performed on them. So you can feel some of these energies. So send love to the things that have been infringing, that overstep laws and boundaries in the earth in the year of the 444. Just send love to these things. Okay, so really appreciate it if you do this, because it's going to help us. And with that, as we heal ourselves, we heal others, and we start building that bridge, we start being more fruition, and it lifts that pain, that trauma that has been held so heavy for such a long time. It starts transforming it. So please do it. We really appreciate it. And again, don't be sad when you're doing it. Don't feel pain. Just be like, oh, I recognize these things that we've gone through, but instead I send you love, and I love you. And even that man that is doing that harm to the child or the adult, I send you love. You can say without harming anyone, and you won't again harm anyone. Without harming anyone, I send you love. I love you regardless. I love you. I love you. Because you never know, that person that's doing these negative things could be a fractal of you, could be the dark aspect of you. And all they need is love to remember their soul, remember the love of you, and how beautiful the light love is within us all. When we heal these darker aspects of oneself or others, is when we are truly going to really transform this universe itself. That is the goal. Healing the darkness. And the darkness we speak of is the darkness that harms, because there's the darkness that is beautiful, like the night and the darkness there where we see the stars. Okay, love you all. Keep connecting that bridge, or the fourth dimensional in the 2020. Prepare yourself for tomorrow. Build yourself up. Have yourself be light, so that you can integrate and hold that space for yourself and others. I love you guys. Love you all. You are 111, 13th hour. You are an inspiration to me, as I am perhaps an inspiration to you, because we are reflections of one another. You are. I love you. I love you all. Thank you for being support here. I love you with all that I am. Have a beautiful, blessed weekend, and go spread your love and your heart. Love you all. See you soon.